even if the government emphasizes and invests in the Northeast in order to put into action the foreign policy of Actis India, Nagaland do ikut na pai. Ini Nagaland do ini bypass kare because we have nothing to contribute. Highway do Manipur laga more highway do itia people Manhan bara koi do खाली तिमापुर नागालैंड भारत कोई में भर बचा होले भी इधर मणिपुर में भी रास्ता क्या बनाया से तो हो वया हाफलोंग फाले तो नागालैंड तो bypass कर सकते थे भी तो किधर खत्म हो पो तो no longer they will use the road over here तो जो international trade center तो ठीक बना जी के ना ठीक function होले तो trade तो पिछे आए तो and hence it gives us a chance to be useful for the Actis India policy, to have a connecting road through that. And actually, it would be good for Nagaland to show the government of India that we can play a very useful role for the government of India to bridge that gap. Because right now, because of the civil war going on in Myanmar, the Chin area is kind of cut off in Mizoram, right? And even the Moreh area is also cut off because Moreh you can't go towards Burma because they have closed the gate. Same thing with in Mizoram, you cannot go into the Chin areas because the Chin areas they have closed the gates. The bridge. So right now, only the Saikan region, the Mandaka region is peaceful.
That is peaceful.
India foreign policy, India has no foreign policy. It only reacts to China and it only reacts to Pakistan. So Actis policy is an example of such. We have to understand that the main concern for the government of India is not Actis policy or Pakistan or China. The main concern for the government of India is how to keep the country united. That's the only thing. That's why.
So you have to fence it if you have
to. Yeah. Even if we have to divide the Nagas and the Mizos, and even from the Arunachal also they're there, even from Manipur also they're there. Even if you have to divide their people, let's divide because we have to keep the country united.
Divide and rule. Hello viewers, welcome to Fort Nagaland News. আমি নতাই আপনি আগে আলাদা খবর লই নাই থাকে নিছনা আর স্পেশালি মহান Fort Nagaland News channel আমি না পাবলিক করনে নাগা পাবলিক করনে ভাল কি আছে ইতুলো উপর বি খবর বনাই থাকে কি লাভ আছে মহান সোসাইটি করনে ইতু নিছনা আজি আমি আইনে কথা কবলে থাকে তো আজি লা টপিক টু ফার্স্ট অফ অল আমি আজি স্পিকার গে আমি ইন্টারভিউ ল মানুগে মহান ইন্ট্রোডিউস নকরা গে ফার্স্ট কো থাকে তো ইতু interview to thaka to is regarding Act East policy. Itu icha Indian government laga foreign policy bitor sabse ekta important policy ekta ase aro mostly amena northeast region ge touch kore to. Itu Act East policy laga itu foreign policy to. Aro itu opor de amian this time Hornbill bi jaine ase Hornbill festival khotom si itu opor itu time dibi holibe ministers khan holu amiana state la aro advisors khan holibi kun ase tahan speech khan ki diam de public lo kota ko amde homoy de idu Act East policy lo pore kotha bishi kuise to amian idu Act East policy do sob manu ki ase idu thik bana janne thakibo holibi idu bhal ba janbo karna ji amian aine sir Dr. Salikyu Sangtam associate professor department of political science la hina ase aro tailo de itu lo pore since tai bi ekta expert ase la field de ron talo de idu kotha ko rahina samyan idu Act East policy upor so welcome sir.
Thank you.
So sir, to begin with ami hujum ja thake what is Act East policy mehan laga viewers khan bhal ba jane hogar
Act East India policy though it's a government of India's foreign policy to build a better economic, political and security relations with Southeast Asian countries such as Myanmar, Thailand, Cambodia, Laos and Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, Vietnam, Brunei, so that because it's a policy that is trying to integrate India's economic connections with these countries and also foreign and security policies because it's India's way of countering the influence of China in Southeast Asia.
So sir, regarding our Northeast region,
yes.
Key role play kore to Northeast region khan to te aro as much as we know to rock connectivity we ase to so like Nagaland na context itu Northeast Nagaland context so milai ni holo pa mengi buchai
okay itu Act East India policy do itu paper de sile do na bisi sundar or bisi phala ase sapale to or puri pole to na because that act this policy de kwado because India wants to build a good relations with Myanmar and all the Southeast Asian countries, Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, whatnot. Because India wants to build a good relations with them, hence they want to use the Northeast India as a gateway to build that relationships. Because India has a very long historical, economic, and cultural ties and connections with these countries. Historically, it's there. Culturally, it's there. Even in terms of language, Buddhism went from to these Southeast Asian countries through this region. Linguistically, culturally, even the way we look are similar. So India is trying to use that to build a bridge, to build a connection with these countries. So sabole to bisi policy. In other words, India's major active policy, though one of India's major foreign policy. And in that, one of the major important foreign policy of India, they put Northeast as the center of that policy. Notice the importance of this paper day though. Holiday ini paper day ase.
Come then.
And hence, kidia amahan government officials and government representatives, whenever they, or amanaga leaders can holiday, whenever they say act this policy, I'm not sure whether they are well aware of this or not, but then everybody knows, at least like the academic circle, that it is just paper talk. Kali muki ase, paper day ase, ini iku nobly deny. Aro in terms of Nagaland, act this policy kind of bypasses Nagaland. Nagaland do look sideline there ase, because strategically Mizoram and Manipur becomes more important. It is Asian highway we say. Asian highway it connects Bangkok all the way to India, and there are two highways. One is through Moray in Manipur, and the other one is through Mizoram. So even over there also Nagaland is bypassed. And another one would be the waterways. Even waterways also, India is making waterways connections. There's one in Manipur, Mizoram, Assam, right? But then again Nagaland is bypassed. So even if the government acts, even if the government emphasizes and invests in the Northeast in order to put into action the foreign policy of Actis India, Nagaland do could not buy. In Nagaland do bypass because we have nothing to contribute. And so that's why other states like Assam, Manipur, Mizoram, they benefit a lot from this Actis policy. Hence Nagaland do bypass it.
So it's a Mizoram very good issue, sir. Like and Mizoram and Manipur regarding Moray, and Mizoram we know there's an international that border and people are going through that even already. But right now looking at the scenario at Myanmar situation to take na. So ini kau homoy de, amian apni chuida ni snapni age de like you said, Nagaland to bypass kore. Hole bypass kore gulube amian leaders khan to koi thage ek is policy ni ka ho na. What if tade Myanmar situation ni ngase? Aro itu pore amian rasta to yete bora Manipur jaya kul Kohima jabu to Dimapur ba Kohima. Engone jase. To amian thik pai to implement kuru gule Nagaland kuntu jaga de hola. Like I feel like Longwa Pangshan be international.
Very good point. One more thing, we do highway do Manipur laga Moray highway do. Itia people Manhan bara koi do khali Dimapur Nagaland bara koi ma bora bacha. Hole bidia Manipur de bi rasta ekta banaya ase do. To hoy do. Via Haflong phale. To Nagaland do bypass kore ase do debi. To kidia khatam hobo do no longer they will use the road over here.
Koi mai no chala ho jabo.
To
direct Haflong do Moray.
Ifal bara jabo. Haflong bara do west of Imphal and Ifal bara ni jabo. Aro second thing, very good point. Itu amhan chance to busy ase de Nagaland debi lungwa ekta ase aro Pangsha. I think you guys went the both very good. Amhan tadi chance to busy ase, and actually the border areas are more peaceful. But the thing is that the government have just built, you need to be official ni naam sam karne paper ni they have just built international trade center in Pangsha. In Pangsha, Pangshan lungwa pa holibi inga se ikun kure na July to kinga phalo ba or relative to the Chin areas in Mizoram, right, and relative to the other areas in close to Manipur, More or Kiko More Laka, Parma side. Tadi pali do ulup conflict to aseto, Myanmar conflict. Only be among you Sakan region pali do conflict man binai. Hoido. Those international trade center those thick panadikina thick function holido trade to pisa bodo. And hence it gives us a chance to be useful for the Act East India policy, to have a connecting road through that. We're not saying that just building moi kwan hoi itu amhando pangsha or lungwa de trade center do fully functional hole do amhando pisi important no itu bin hoi hol bi amhan bi opportunity pai ni part of the policy of no part of the government Act East policy of ngase
one ajit interview lo to sir regarding last year we during Hornbill festivals and all we were covering news the time the speech khan in kiki jam the bishi uni shedo regarding this Act East policy na they were speaking about that so we were curious so we wanted to feel the expert so we came to ask you ajila to mainly it was to apni koi genesis only on papers mostly so how to go about kinga hole jan mohan naga manu garne especially our channel we work for Naga people.
Before I tell you about Aman Nakaman Nukane Kinga, it's very important to understand Act East policy to Kiase. Act East policy to in a sense it's only in paper and it's a reaction. It's a reaction to China's influence in Southeast Asia. So in India to kali react ikure. Policy to India foreign policy to kopo kore to India has no foreign policy. It only reacts to China and it only reacts to Pakistan. So Act East policy is an example of such. It react gripo aro hoise aro iku nai. Vision kando phala se hole bi implement gripo le do difficult. That's one thing to remember. Itu laga context aman laga nakaman laga aman nagahan midde for the state of Nagaland. If you think about how we can be useful, we have to make ourselves, we have to show that we can be a useful connect, a cultural connect between India and the rest of Southeast Asian countries. Because I think Amando culturally though and racially also we are very similar, racially and then culturally it's there, historically it's there, and we should show that we can through cultural and historical ties and linguistic ties. We can play an important role in bridging that divide between India and the rest of Southeast Asian countries. For this end, we have to iti aman daga border areas though. That is the busy development lage. If you go to More be at least compared to Nagaland, compared to border areas in Nagaland, More is quite well developed. Trade busy ase. Our Indonesia aman iti koi. Border areas like Kiman International Trade Center, say it should be well developed, functioning, and it should also provide means of livelihood. No? Then there will be exchange of goods and people. Aro aman laga tikto aman dus lungwa aro pangsha pali do sab naga manu khani ase. Aman itia koi Myanmar se hole bi naga manu khani ase do. So there's more chances of high intensity of trade and commerce and exchange. And actually it would be good for Nagaland to show the government of India that we can play a very useful role for the government of India to bridge that gap. Because right now, because of the civil war going on in Myanmar, the Chin area is kind of cut off in Mizoram, right? And even the More area is also cut off. Because More you can't go towards Burma because they have closed the gate. Same thing with in Mizoram. You cannot go into the Chin areas because the Chin areas, they've closed the gates, the bridge. So right now, only the Saikan region, the Mandaka region is peaceful.
That is peaceful. So sir, ekta khoda hudum jasa like I want to ask you one thing regarding Japan's role. Actually, Japan invest even in Nagaland, and I think day before yesterday they've come into understanding or MOU. They've signed MOU with the government of Meghalaya also regarding medical college or something. So what is Japan's role in it?
Japan though busy among notice they busy interest there for historical reasons. One's for historical and the other one is in a sense cultural reasons. Cultural not for us but for them because we look alike. So culturally it's more, we have an affinity. Second, Japan has had an experience in the Northeast, and they have been playing a huge role, investing lots of money in terms of education and infrastructure development, right, in Nagaland and in the Northeast. So Japan, though, they are very interested in the region and they want to help develop the region. It is just that, again, in terms of other states in the Northeast gives them more opportunity for investment. And this is the problem with Nagaland, is that we don't provide opportunities. No, manukan ki I can invest globally. Opportunities to nai. Not because we don't have, but it's just that Aman India, we don't have enough socio-economic foundations, solid socio-economic foundations for others to make Nagaland attractive for investment. How chutu mutu investment do ai thakibo. Maybe it's not going to make a huge difference, because Japan, on the other hand, they're investing heavily, right, in other northeastern states, like you said, Meghalaya is an example of such. So even we should provide that. We should provide that platform. Yeah, build a very strong foundation, economic foundation. So inga kore to ini investment be opportunities to be available. We have lots of educated population, but then in terms of skills we have less. So I think other states in Northeast are more skill focused and less education intensive. And actually these are some of the ideas, these are some of the discussions I came across talking to some very brilliant minds. So from there, that's what have been discussed, and then we're like, yeah, it's kind of true that other states, they focus on skills, not education. But over here we focus on education and skills naina. So skills na like kin ka invest kuro. Manu kan be invest kuro gole to skills like the population do Meghalaya they are more skilled, hence investment naibo. Education na thakile bi. Hole bi Nagaland education bisa se skill nai to invest kin ka kuro. Ingana. That's why right now a bit of tweaking in education policy, then industrial policy, economic policy, and security policy is very important.
Japan's influence in Northeast.
Yeah.
Is it also a part of this AKIS policy? Or what do you say?
No. Japan's involvement in Northeast is not part of AKIS policy. Japan has always had an interest because of, historically also, when we look back to the Second World War, right? So it's Japan's way of kind of taking the responsibility for all the damages done during the Second World War whenever they were here, right? And there are some brilliant books that have been written on that also by our Naka authors. So I think those are some of the things which why Japan is involved. It's not part of AKIS policy because, like I said, AKIS policy is a reaction to China's influence in Southeast Asia. So Japan was already investing in the Northeast even before India came up with the AKIS policy. Actually, at first it was Look East policy, and after Narendra Modi came to power, he changed from Look East to AKIS policy. So that's the different terminology.
So, sir, now it's AKIS policy.
Yeah.
So, regarding the fencing of this Longwa and
Yes.
Bangsha,
Very good question. Yes.
what do you think about that? Or what do you have to say on it? When you are trying to put something like AKIS policy rather than that, you are trying to fence it.
Yes, that's a very good question. Yes, very good question. Yes, because if you're trying to open the borders, build connections, why are you building border fences, right? So the thing is, actually, people say that it is because of the civil war going on in Myanmar and also because of the conflict in Manipur. Yes, but then we all know that the conflict in Manipur has political reasons behind it, political and economic reasons behind it, socio-economic reasons behind it. But it has nothing to do with the people migrating, because it is, historically, if you look at it, for example, border do Naga Manukan lagai ase na, khali British kan bara aikina border banai diya ase to. Aro tadi kile fence bana, kile aman fence bana, kile divide kuro. Apna lungma de bijai se, lungma laga ang laga khoro sit thick middle de ase. To border to fence bana le to divide kuro ase to people ke na. This is not part of our culture. We've always migrated to and fro. That's why It is just that the government of India is kind of, like I said, they don't have any kind of concrete policies. It's only kiba problem labo aro ini dikhawale itu kuruba. Kiba problem labo ini dikhawale itu kuruba. India has no foreign policy. Hence, they have difficulty manning the borders also. Aro itia apna ba thik kwa nisna border do khulibole dia active policy ase. That means open borders hobo. To kill a fence kuri dia. Again, that's contradiction, and that's why to bar mo kwa to active policy to khali paper dei ase. Hosa kule the border fence lakai di bole bi thopna bina khulbo do. Khali bi khali paper active policy to paper dei thaka para. Acha kiba ola ase any fence kuri dibo kina. And it also creates division. Because right now, we have to understand that the main concern for the government of India is not active policy or Pakistan or China. The main concern for the government of India is how to keep the country united. That's the only thing. That's why.
So you have to fence it if you have to.
Yeah. Even if we have to divide the Nagas and the Mizos, and even from the Arunachal also they're there, even from Manipur also they're there. Even if you have to divide their people, let's divide because we have to keep the country united.
Divide and rule. 1 billion on infrastructure connectivity between India and Asia. 1 billion, I think it's dollars. Kitla bodki.
1 billion though. Amahan action mandu, tuition mandu, the business na $1 billion though. Holibi, whenever you speak of connecting countries and culture, 1 billion is nothing. 1 billion is nothing. Connecting highway, 1 billion is nothing. That is a drop of water in the ocean. You need more than that. So even with the money itself, it says that India is not serious about this. In Namsam karne itya rasta banaya se connect kuri bole. Holibi it will take time, lots of time. So ini sile do ini dikhe na itu do ini Namsam karne ase kori na inka laga ase.
So sir, look east policy or ek east policy is. Do you think ek east policy will succeed since you are an expert in this field? Na aro kiwa east policy aro labo next.
No, yeah, very good question. Very good question. The answer is this. Itya look east policy para ek east policy. Aro itya ek east policy para bi itya ko achikale ko ato. The ek east policy though it entails the whole of India, Indo-Pacific region. Previously, look east policy. Active policy our active policy will connect political, economic security of India with have a closer tie with Southeast Asian countries. So only Southeast Asian countries. But now active policy, government naga policy it means the new definition. They say new definition though it includes the whole of Indo-Pacific area. That means Southeast Asia. Japan, South Korea, all the way to Pacific Ocean, Pacific Islands, like
that. So like I think kiwa east policy next na because it's from look for the ek paro.
The definition the change Korea
So ekta we take implement hona ji talk to.
No, to be honest, if you look at India's foreign policy, India has not implemented any
successful.
Yeah, because India is always concerned with how do you keep the country one together. That's the main concern because India is a very diverse country. So the main concern for every government, regardless of whether it is Congress or BJP or any kind of coalition, the main concern is to keep the country together. It's not other things.
So sir, we'll wind up, but every time when we close like come to an end for our interview, Monica did a message from the person to the people, to our viewers.
Viewers can get Nico Belmunda. Abnahan Kitia, whenever you hear Kitia leaders can bara Kibakopo, Hituase Kopo. Whenever you hear leaders or anybody say anything, Apna Nicho research Kurikana Sasabe, the Tikwase, no Misakwase. Ini leader Parakwase to Baras, such high Kopo in the Bitbinoy. Kumbahan Kopo, or be Hota in Katonoi to Barini, Nijo Barabi research Kurikana Kurilepal. Or information to Babu, actually, information suppose ini khali aman barai check na kura ase tale nicho par research kurle to leaders fan ba ki kwa thik ase na misa ase na hosa ase na to and sab apna han nicho bi jane jabole no chance bisi ase.
So sir, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Apna man valuable time ame hinge dia garne bi. Ingorna man Fort Nagaland news la ina kota ko jaune bisi thanks ase. And we are looking forward aro age je alag alag topics te apni regarding geopolitics apno kota ko le transfer hogne bhapna ase. So thank you so much.
Thanks.
So viewers icha amen aji ete Dr. Salikyu Sangtam taibra amenge bhal ba bujai dise regarding this act is policy aro aha homoita aro alag alag policies kan ki ase regarding geopolitics amen talo hudibo since he is also one of the expert in this field. To aro inika khobor aro alag alag khobor hang garni bi apne side Fort Nagaland news mayara machumni for FNN.